What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Horror, and today we are back with my horror movie franchise tier ranking. Today we are on to the part 4s. As you guys know, I've been going through horror franchises and ranking all of the installments. So we started off with all of the originals, then all of the part 2s and the part 3s, and now we are on the part 4s. A few franchises have dropped off. I believe we're at like around 29 franchises left because some of them only had 3 movies, but there's still a decent amount to rank, and we'll be doing the part 5s next time, and depending on how many we have left, the part 6s as well. I doubt we'll have enough for part 7, but if we do, I'll do that video as well. But let's just get it right into the part 4s of horror. Alright, so here we are at the tier list. As usual, at the top, absolute favorites, good, watchable, bad, dreadful. The same that we've had the entire series. And let's start it off with Friday the 13th. Like usual, my favorite horror franchise, and this, I think, is genuinely maybe the best slasher movie of all time. It's going up to absolute favorites. It is my favorite of the main Friday the 13th series, obviously. My favorite is Freddy vs. Jason because I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but Friday the 13th, the final chapter, is, like, when people ask me for a slasher movie to watch, or, like, what's the best slasher movie, I, 9 times out of 10, will say Friday the 13th, the final chapter, because it is genuinely one of the most well-rounded and just best slasher movies ever. It's the best of the Friday the 13th series, if we're looking at it from not, like, a personal standpoint. It is the best because it has some of the best effects. I was going to say I think it does have the best effects. It has the scariest Jason. It has one of the best Jasons. The final girl and Tommy, you get both of them. And it's just, I think, a very good, well-rounded slasher movie, which is all you want from Friday the 13th. Next up, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. And I know a lot of people hate this movie. I don't hate it. I don't despise it, but it's certainly not good. I'm going to stick it in watchable, because I could watch it. If I'm binging the Nightmare on Elm Street series, I'm not going to get to part 4 and tap out. It'd probably be around part 5 or 6 where I'd tap out. But part 4 is fine. It's enjoyable. You get Freddy, who's starting to lean a little bit heavy into the comedy, and you're starting to not be able to take him seriously. This has a couple of my favorite kills in the series. I think it's a very solid sequel to A Nightmare on Elm Street. Not terrible, but not good. Next up, we have Scary Movie 4, and yep, we're going to have our first entry into Dreadful this time. This movie is not funny. This movie has 0 good jokes. I didn't laugh at all. It is just, and like, it's a comedy, so everything they do is played for laughs, and if none of it works, then you just get a stupid movie. And this movie is very stupid, and it sucks. Next up, we have The Walking Dead Season 4, and I love The Walking Dead. It is possibly my favorite show ever. And Season 4 is good, but I'm going to stick it in good, because you get 2 halves of this. You get Season 3, Part 2, and then you get what would be Season 4. The first half is very good, where they're dealing with the disease going around the prison, and the governor comes back and kills Herschel. Great. That first half. If it was just that first half, it would go up in the top. But the second half is a bit slow because you get just characters walking through the woods aimlessly. You get a couple of good scenes in there with Daryl and Beth bonding and Look at the Flowers, which are both great scenes, but otherwise it felt a little bit slow in the second half, so I'm just going to keep it out of the absolute favorites category and just go in good. Next up, we have Carrie 2013, and Carrie 2013 has always been a movie that I have a soft spot for. I know a lot of people don't care for it. They think it's a pretty basic, not good remake. I disagree. I think it is personally one of my favorite remakes ever, and I'm going to stick it up into absolute favorites. I love the story of Carrie, so I love seeing it redone. I love the original Carrie. I love Rage Carrie 2, and I love Carrie 2002. So there's not a Carrie movie that I dislike. This is probably my second favorite Carrie movie behind the original. just because it does a great job at retelling the story in a modern setting. It's basically the same thing, but at least they didn't mess it up like they do with some horror movie remakes. Then we have Scream 4, which is actually the one that deals with remakes. So, oh yeah, and by the way, this is not like all part fours. It is just the fourth installment in the franchise. So, like, obviously, Carrie, not a part four, but it is the fourth installment. So, just wanted to clear that up. But Scream 4, I'm going to stick in good. It's always been one of my favorite of the Scream series. It has my favorite Ghostface in it with Jill. Charlie, he's a pretty average, boring Ghostface. But I love Jill. I love her reveal. It was genuinely one of the best reveals for me. I think that Gail should have died in this. As much as I love Gail, I think it would have worked a lot better for the story if she had died in this one. But she doesn't, and it's not really a knock against it. It's just what I would have personally done. You get Sydney back, who's great. You get Dewey back, who's great, and you get Kirby, who is great as well. And it comes back in Scream 6. Then we have the first Purge, which is the prequel in the Purge series. I'm going to stick it in watchable. It's a pretty basic action horror movie. It's got some good action scenes. It's got some good scary moments. I like how they tell the origin story of the Purge, but overall, just not a super enjoyable movie. It's watchable. It's fine. Yeah, that's about it. Psycho for the beginning. This movie was shockingly not bad. The first three Psycho movies I'm a huge fan of. When I heard that they had a direct-to-video sequel, I was hesitant, but it turned out to be not as terrible as I expected. I'm still gonna stick it in bad. I could rewatch it if I was doing the whole series again, but it's just fine. I mean, you know exactly what's going to happen because you already know Norman's backstory, so you know exactly what's going to happen, so there's not really any stakes in it, but it's alright. Then we have Critters 4, and this will be our second entry into Dreadful. After part 3s, these horror movie sequels get bad. And shockingly, we started off with some of the better ones to start off with, but this bottom tier is going to get full. Critters 4 is just Critters 3 in space, and Critters 3 is terrible because it only has like 3 critters and they're walking around an apartment complex killing people. This time you get like 3 critters walking around a space station killing people, and it's just not fun because there's nothing. Then we get Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This is usually a lot of people's one of their favorites of the series. That's fair. I think it's a solid Halloween movie. I'm going to stick it in watchable. However, the mask is absolutely awful, so that takes away from the movie a significant amount. I love the relationship between Jamie Lloyd and the other girl, I forget her name. I love that part of this story. I love Loomis in this one, and I think Michael is probably the scariest he has been since the original. Definitely gotten scarier Michael since. I mean, I think the Rob Zombie ones are pretty scary, as well as the David Gordon Green ones are pretty scary, so but as far as like the original series goes, I think this might be one of the scariest versions of Michaels that we got. Next up, we have Jaws: The Revenge. Yeah, it's going in dreadful. It's one of the worst shark movies I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he's a relative of the shark from the original movie, so he is tracking down the family of Chief Brody, and the mom has like a connection to the shark, or I don't know, where she can like tell when her kids are going to be attacked by the shark. It's pretty terrible. Yeah, it's awful. Speaking of awful, Leprechaun 4 also going to go in dreadful. This has none of the fun charm of the Leprechaun series in it. It is just stupid thing after stupid thing after stupid thing after stupid thing. I get zero enjoyment out of this movie. I take that back. There's one scene I enjoy where Leprechaun crawls out of a dude's pee hole. That was the peak of my enjoyment, and the rest of it it went downhill fast. The main characters aren't likable. They're barely even characters. They don't have any personality. Leprechaun, he's in it shockingly not as much as you'd think he is. It's just, yeah, it's not one of the enjoyable ones. Next up, we have Saw 4, and I always say that Saw 3 and Saw 4 are like the weak part of the original Saw series. And I agree with that, but Saw 4 is decent. I still gonna put it in watchable. I like the cop plot. It's very good in this one, one of my favorites of the series. Otherwise, the traps are a bit weak. The twist I didn't necessarily love. I do love the ending where the guy sticks the pen in his throat so that he can survive. I like that. But otherwise, it wasn't the best Saw movie, but it was a decent one, and it's just gonna go unwatchable. Next up, we have Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong. And if you're wondering why this was on here when I didn't include any of the other crossovers, like Alien versus Predator, or when we get to it, Freddy versus Jason, it's because Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong takes place in the Evil Bong series. Like, it has a place in the series. It's not a separate thing. Like Alien vs Predator, it doesn't like take, it technically does, but it doesn't like continue the story of the Alien movies. This movie continues the story of the Evil Bong movies, and the movies that come after it acknowledge that this movie exists because the Gingerdead Man is in the next Evil Bong movies. So it is technically the fourth movie, even though Evil Bong 4 takes place right after this. So I mean, technically Evil Bong 4 is the fifth movie. So I'm counting it because it has something to do with it. I don't know. It made sense to me. And like I said last time, Evil Bong is rated on a separate scale because if I was ranking them based on their quality, they'd all go in dreadful. So I get to be a little bit more generous with this series. And as an Evil Bong movie, Gingerdead Man vs. Evil Bong is watchable. It is the only one that I have a lot of fun with. I enjoy the first Evil Bong a little bit. But I have a decent amount of enjoyment with Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong. I think it's one of the craziest, most insane in the series, and I enjoy a lot of the things they do. I don't think they go too far with anything like they do in some of the sequels. It's just enjoyable. Then we have Insidious: The Last Key, and I am not a fan of the Insidious franchise at all. So this movie, people said it's shockingly not bad. It was pretty bad. I thought it was super boring. I'm going to put it in bad. I thought it was super boring. I didn't think we needed to see another prequel where Elise comes back because I just didn't care as much about this series as everybody else did. It's all right as far as like a 2010s ghost movie, but yeah, it wasn't super good for me. Alien Resurrection, going at the bottom, dreadful. The worst of the Alien franchise for me. The dialogue is awful. The characters are hateable, terrible. You get Ripley back, who is not Ripley, and she's super annoying. You get Winona Ryder, who is actually decent in this. But otherwise, there's not a single thing this movie does, besides Winona Ryder, that I like. Paranormal Activity 4, which, as you guys know, is my second favorite horror franchise. And I put the other three up in absolute favorites. And I have to be honest with myself, Paranormal Activity 4 is just going to go in good. Most people say this is the worst of the series, besides Ghost Dimension, but I enjoy it a lot. Sure, I'll admit it. It's the exact same thing as the first three. I know that Paranormal Activity is very repetitive. I know that Friday the 13th is very repetitive. That doesn't mean they're not my two favorite horror franchises ever. This movie has Catherine Newton, who I love. It does the same thing as the first three, but there are some scary moments. It's a bit less enjoyable than the first three, just a little bit, and it's just overall like, but at this point, you're getting a little bit tired of the concept, but I still love it. Then we have Bride of Chucky, and I don't know if this is controversial or not. I'm gonna put it in watchable. I know this is like one of the most beloved of the Chucky series. I'm sorry, I don't care for it that much. I think Chucky and Tiffany are both great in this one. I think it has some good kills. Otherwise, I don't like any of the other characters in this, especially the leads, because they are the worst couple I have ever seen in film. Because they literally hate each other so much that they accuse each other of murder. They're like, oh, I love you. And then they're like, oh, you killed that guy. Like, what? You just got married and you're instantly accusing the other person of murder. They do it multiple times. They are not likable and they are very annoying. So it sucks that we have to follow them for most of the movie, but Chucky and Tiffany make up for it a little bit. It's watchable. The Final Destination, easily the worst of the Final Destination series. going down in dreadful. Final Destination as a concept, I thought it was impossible to mess up. They figured it out. They managed. They managed a way to do it. All you need to do is have a realistic, reasonable disaster that is based on a fear that everybody has. They do not do that. Now, NASCAR is scary. I will, like, driving, I'm sure, is terrifying. And maybe if they were sitting in, like, the front row, you'd be afraid of a NASCAR crashing into you. But they're not. They're sitting very high up in the stands, and car parts get launched from the track all the way up to them. That is not a realistic fear that anybody has. So they mess up the disaster. All of the kills are CGI, so it takes away any good part of the kills that you would enjoy, and it's terrible. It is the worst Final Destination movie. Stranger Things Season 4, I'm going to put all the way up in the top. As you guys know, I love Stranger Things. The only one that didn't make it up to the top, I believe, was Season 2. I'm excited for Season 4. I said that Season 3 had the best characters in it, and I stand by that. They have Nancy, Steve, Robin, which are some of my favorite characters in the series, and they get all of their time to shine. But this one, I think, also does a very good job at continuing those great character moments from part 3 and making you love these characters even more. You get Eddie, who you love. He's introduced in this one. You get Argyle. You get a few others that are introduced. But it makes me love Nancy, Steve, my two favorite characters. Makes me love them a lot more in a lot of the scenes that even they share together. I love Max a lot more in this. I think 11 is good. I think pretty much all the characters make me like them a little bit more in Season 4. It is definitely a better blend of horror and the first 3 seasons feel very fun. This one felt very horrific. Like, it was more horror than it was. There's still the comedy stuff and the family feel, but it's a lot more scary than the first 3, and I like that a little bit more. Fear Street Prom Queen is the 4th Fear Street movie, and I'm going to stick it in watchable. I've watched it twice now. The first time I watched it, I would have put it down here in bad. But the second time watch, I enjoyed it a significant amount more, and I'm willing to forgive the flaws because it's an enjoyable movie if you're just willing to have fun with it. And that's what I did the second time. I was just like, yeah, I know it's bad, but let's have fun with it, and I enjoyed it a significant amount more. So it's gonna go in the middle there. Noble Rising, dreadful. When I watched it it wasn't as bad as I think it is now, because I had a little bit of fun with it. It's crazy, but then, like, looking back at it, it's just dumb. Everything they do is dumb. They give you an origin story for his mask when they just gave him that mask so that he wouldn't maul somebody's face off and Silence of the Lambs, but apparently he's been wearing it the whole time, so it's just kind of his thing. How does that make sense? The kills are terrible. It's like a revenge story, so they're making you root for Hannibal almost, and it just... No. Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, Initiation, down to the bottom. There is Playing It Safe with a horror movie slasher sequel, and then there's Silent Night, Deadly Night 4. Does this movie have anything to do with Christmas? No. Does this movie have anything to do with slashers? No. Does this movie have anything to do with the previous 3 in the series? No. Does this even have a mention of any of the characters from the previous 3 movies? No. This has nothing to do with the previous 3 Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. It has nothing to do with the 5th one. It has nothing to do with the remake. It has nothing to do with Christmas or even slasher movies. Yeah. Next up, we have the Poltergeist remake, and when I ranked the Poltergeist series, I believe Poltergeist 3 was my least favorite. But I think now, Poltergeist, the remake of Poltergeist, is my least favorite. I did not enjoy this movie whatsoever. I thought it was very boring, very bland. Just a retelling of the original story done pretty much exactly the same. Yeah, just didn't get anything out of it. Evil Dead, the remake, is actually going all the way up to the top. I think it is possibly the best horror movie remake ever. My favorite still might be Carrie, but this is a very good close contender. I'm glad they don't try to redo Ash because he's such a beloved character, but you get Mia, who is, I think, an even better character than Ash, personally. But I love what they do in this. It's very violent, very gory. The gore looks great. I love the final scene in this. I love Mia. I love all the characters except for the ones that you're meant to hate. And I just think that this is a very good remake of Evil Dead. I'm not a huge fan of the original Evil Dead trilogy, but these two new ones I have absolutely loved. Next two, I can put them in the bottom, just like we don't really need to talk about Jeepers Creepers Reborn or Return to Sleepaway Camp, because they're both boring sequels that have no reason existing and do basically everything you could imagine incorrectly. You know, like all of the choices that you would make when making a sequel, they take those choices and then go the wrong way with them. So yeah, pretty terrible. The Predator. Pretty basic action movie. It's fine. You get some characters you like, you get some characters you don't like, you get a villain, you get a hero, you get the Predators. It's decent. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation is obviously going into dreadful. The only thing this movie has going for it is that it has Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. And Matthew McConaughey does provide some value with his performance, with how crazy it is, but it only gives you value because it's Matthew McConaughey and you're seeing him act this insane. So it's terrible. It's terrible. And that's going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to hit like and subscribe. So when you want to see more videos like it in the future, make sure to stay tuned for the next in the series, which I will look at the part 5s. And you can comment down below some more video ideas for me, or comment down below some of your own opinions on these various part 5s, some of your favorites, some of your least favorites, however you want to do it. I'll reply to as many people as possible. And until next time, I'm Ethan Horror. This has been Ethan Horror.